Welcome back. We are here with Brenden from Top Tier. Brenden, how are you doing today?
Good, good. It's nice to be here with you, Easton.
Yes, I'm very excited to chat. The vibe is amazing.
Oh, I appreciate
Um,
that.
of course. So you started Top Tier about a year ago.
Mhm.
Why did you decide to dive into this business?
So, a little bit of context. My first job out of college, I wasn't really sure what to do. I was looking around, and ended up getting involved in commercial real estate, investment sales to be particular. Um, and I was making anywhere from, on the low side 20 to 40, on the high side 100 to 140 cold calls per day. And when I started, it was right at the beginning of everything happening with COVID. Um, and so the last person that somebody wanted to trust with their investments was me. So I was making all these calls to people that didn't want to talk to me, and ripping my hair out at lunch and screaming at the windshield, and I was just thinking there's got to be a better way to do this. And I understood that some people use speed dialers that triple
Yeah,
dial,
yeah.
and I started understanding that, well, when I go get my hair cut, they'll text me afterward and say, "Hey, can you leave me a review?" And I'm like, "How? Like, who's doing? Are they actually doing that, or like who's doing that?" And then it that happened, kind of when I started figuring about ringless voicemail and text and email marketing. I just how do people do all of this without daily manual
Yeah, yeah.
input, and started researching that, and it got me into learning about all different types of marketing softwares, and that's pretty much what led me to what I'm doing now.
And your software automates a lot of different things. What is your favorite service that you offer?
I think the favorite service it offers me is actually the automation workflows, because I understand it a little bit better than other people might. I explain automation workflows as kind of like a big old stack of dominoes, right? So you flick the first domino based on somebody either filling out a Facebook form or clicking on an advertisement or a trigger link from an email or something like that, or even responding to a text message. And then based on that first thing, we can have another text message being sent, another email being sent, have it wait 30 days and then do something. So, the possibilities with that are pretty much endless.
And you're also working with some agents from Serenity Realty.
Yeah.
How are they using your software and business to make their life easier?
Yeah, so a lot of it revolves around taking the daily manual repetitive actions out of their life. So one of the most digestible examples I can use is our social media tool, which allows you to connect all of your different social medias to one location and schedule them. So there's I can't remember the specific application, what it's called, that allows people to do that, on its own. But I think that's a pre-existing tool already, and it just allows people to schedule as far out as they want all their social media posts, whether they're actual post stories or reels,
Yeah.
out for like even up to like 2 years. So, versus going in every day and spending that time daily versus spending 10 hours to set up a whole quarter of your marketing
Yeah.
is kind of, it requires a lot more upfront work to set up all these systems, but in the end you don't end up having to do that daily, and it frees up your time to do other things.
And you're using Go High Level to make all this
Correct,
happen.
yes.
How did you come across this?
Two individuals. Dominic Baptist was the first affiliate that of Go High Level that I ever really noticed, and James Benades was the second. Um, Two killers. They're really good guys. But I think James has a little bit more business experience than Dominic has, just because of the age difference. And I think James was actually doing marketing for companies before Go High Level existed. So he had already, been in the space operating for a couple of years, and I think has a little bit more knowledge to give on the actual business application side of things. But just on YouTube, I'm a YouTube warrior.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from YouTube.
And what differentiates Top Tier versus other businesses?
Yeah, so really the customer service level, right? We go in and we consult with the business. In addition to our pre-existing templates that we have, we actually go in and further customize those. So businesses, along with our training, they know how to use those types of services instead of having to go in and spend all the different, all the time on somebody actually setting up the particulars of it
Yeah.
themselves. So all those automation campaigns, we're talking multiple 24-month campaigns with like 36 touches. You got to design all the different texts and emails that you want to be sent in conjunction. They all have to be, you know, interesting enough to provide value,
Yeah.
but also not like naggy or intrusive too. So you have to find like a really clever way to toe that line where people don't want to say stop, quit texting me, but like they also are intrigued and want to respond.
That's very interesting because you wouldn't think in a software like that where, it needed to take that such deep level of, you know, like understanding of what the customer wants, what they want, and not only like what the customer wants, but what the business wants. And,
I
trying to
agree.
like mesh that shit together. And it also utilizes AI technology.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see AI going just in general in a business perspective?
Um, it's applications. I feel like we haven't even really hit the top of the tip of the iceberg,
Yeah.
right? It's the first software that, in my opinion, and Alex Hermosi said this first. I get a lot of good educational content from him. Also, Warrior, um, but it's the first thing that can actually disrupt the the human economy,
Yeah.
right? People can hold conversations with this, and especially when it gets to the later generations and we can actually have fluid conversations. I think somebody already had the first podcast with AI.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I don't know. I heard about it on Joe Rogan last week, but I haven't tuned into it yet. Um, it can replace your significant other down the line, right? Who's this thing or person that loves me, talks to me, pleases
Yeah.
me, don't have to feed it, don't have to hear it complain. It's like all the terrible things, or not, let's not say terrible, but all the things that you get with, a partner
Yeah.
that you may not like, you don't have to have that in certain situations. So, um, it's scary, really. But it also brings, I think, people back to the necessary foundation of like community,
Yeah.
right? And that's something I love is like a good sense of temporary community is like no matter what, they'll never be able to provide the human experience
Yeah.
to one another. Like sitting down talking like we are now, like it. I mean, and maybe that's subject to change too. Like I said, it's people already having podcasts. Maybe people will enjoy talking to robots more than humans. I don't know, but it's just the first thing. Like you can't put a vehicle engine and have it sit down and talk to people.
Yeah.
It's just a totally different type of intrusive and disruptive tech. So,
Yeah. I think it's very interesting because it's like a Black Mirror episode, right? When, things might get a little crazy and wild. And you also played hockey for many years when you were younger. How did this have a positive impact on your life?
um, just being competitive. I think if I could go back, I would have loved to have like learned an instrument before I played
Yeah.
sports. Um, just especially now where I'm at with trying to be more creative. But it really is all about the competition of things. It's the camaraderie and brotherhood of being on a team and striving to achieve a goal together. You got to
Yeah.
communicate. You have to understand one another. You have to know what their tendencies are, and it allows you to achieve something greater. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Right.
Yes.
So the old saying. Um, and I think it's really true. And being on teams for most of my life, like I played hockey, I played football for a short time. I played baseball for a short time when I was super young. I was always very involved in like athletics,
Yeah.
track and cross country, just about everything. I played golf on a high school team too. So just all those experience kind of, together helped, you know, understand my role as a team player and how to step up when there's not, somebody in leadership and somebody needs to be leading. But it also, showed me on the surface that I have slight anger issues. And when I tell somebody to do something, I'm not very patient if it doesn't get done properly. So it's brought a lot of learning to the surface, both personal and, through, other people.
That's awesome. That I like that. Especially like the team aspect of it. It really allows you to learn to work together and your strength and weaknesses. Like, oh, I'm really good at this. He's really good at that. Let's play a role. And if we play a role correctly, we're gonna win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same, with loving relationships. It's the same with friendships. It's
Yeah.
the same with business colleagues, right? Like I know if staying disciplined, right? Because that's one thing for me. Staying disciplined is tough. Then I need to know that I have to stay around more disciplined people.
Yeah.
And it'll rub off. And so that's just kind of where I'm at now in life, is trying to make those wiser decisions.
Yeah. And you also have a quote on your Instagram bio that says, "There are no coincidences." Could you kind
Yeah.
of unpack what that means to you?
For me, the fact that there are no coincidences means you are always, for better or worse, supposed to be in a situation that you're in, right? And I've taken this from a couple of people that I've seen online talking about just the value of absolute self accountability, right? If I am responsible for everything, good or bad, that happens to me, then nobody else has any power over me,
Yeah.
right? So if there's no coincidences and we're always supposed to be where we're at, then I don't know, it's like a weird psychological thing for me too. It just makes me feel at home
Yeah.
when I'm feel out of place. If I'm nervous or anxious in a crowd, I'm like, well, this is just what it feels like to be in a big crowd of people and not have, that token of personal safety that you might have when you're at home sitting in your living room.
Yeah.
So everything, there's no light without dark. There's no hills without valleys. It's all contextual, and taking those experiences and learning from them rather than being like, oh, this sucks. I'm going to give my power to the fact that I hate the weather, right? The weather's got power over me.
Yeah.
Then I'm not going to leave the house if the weather's crappy. So I don't know if that answers the question adequately, but yeah, you're always supposed to be where you should be. There's really, I don't believe there's any coincidences. I think, if and that can be presumptuous too, because obviously there's people in bad places that
Yeah.
didn't do anything to deserve that. But I think, if you really take that, adopt that mentality of self accountability, you can get yourself out of just about anything.
I
You can
like
also
that.
get
Yeah.
yourself into about anything too.
Yes.
So
I have two more questions. If you could have dinner with two people, one person from the past and one person from the present, who would it be and why?
past would have to be Nikola Tesla.
A lot of people have picked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
to me, just the free energy technology is something that either exists and has been suppressed, or black shelved by a big company, or something
Yeah.
like that, right? And solid state free energy devices. I mean, you talk about improving the well being and living, standards of everybody around the world. Remove energy costs for
Yeah.
manufacturing and gathering raw materials. I mean, what we could do as a society then becomes limitless.
Yeah.
So, but I think, there's people with certain interests that don't want those types of things to happen. That's why they don't.
And what about the present?
Probably just because I'm a fanboy, but Alex Hormozy. I'd like literally thought about, trying to muster up the money to pay for an hour of his time, but it's just, yeah, that's so asinine to me. I'm just not to that point. But you know, he has so much high quality information to share, and he's also been really honest about how he struggled in the past.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, you know, my family relationship isn't the best. Like, these are things, you know, that I've had to overcome, and I feel like um, just the transparency and truthfulness in that approach to things has helped me in my own personal life so much that, you know, I just would like to ask him about his life and
Yeah.
see how he's doing, and, you know, see what drove his certain interests into things. I'm a nut for like trying to pick people's brains.
Yeah, I really like Alex Hermosi's content. He's very real and
Yeah.
very honest. And when you listen to him speak, even though there is some stuff I don't agree with, but I'm like, wow, he's honest. At
Yeah.
least he's authentic and real about the things he presents, which is like that's all we can ask
Yeah.
from a human being. I have one more question.
Hmm.
Why did you partner with us and offer the discounts?
I like you. I know you're motivated to do good things, and you know, being a part of an environment that offers not only discounts to other people that are working hard and motivated, but, you know, involving myself in another community is super important to me. That's community building is going to be a huge thing for me going forward, not only for business and, you know, professional endeavors, but for music and creative endeavors and for personal friendships as well. I'm just trying to um, let me put it this way. There's been a lot of times where I don't feel important or don't feel loved, and nobody needs to feel that
Yeah.
way. And I want to create an environment where everybody knows they can just show up and get some love, you know? Like, the world is so hard already that nobody needs to like struggle with not having somebody to talk to.
Yes,
So,
I agree. Thank you for that as well.
yeah.
That's other questions I have. How can people reach you? And what is one thing that you would like to leave people with?
Yeah, so all of my contact information can be found on my social medias and on my website. My website is www.toptiergroup.group/home. I'm figuring out all of the. There's something wrong with my domain right now, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, where it won't let me actually put in toptier.group. It's only toptier.group/home. So that's kind of frustrating, but all my social medias are just Brenden Shatley for the most part. And it's spelled BrendenShatley. So there's very few
Yeah,
people in the world with the same name as me, which is kind of cool. People have told me it's like the French spelling,
yeah.
if you will.
Well, Brenden, thank you. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.